Minnesota Vikings are set to finish off the preseason this upcoming Saturday against the Denver Broncos. We'll talk about that game coming up next. We're coming up to the end of the preseason here, which means the regular season is right around the corner. It'll be interesting to see what Kevin O'Connell decides to do in this third game. We haven't seen the starters play one bit. At this point, I don't see it happening. I mean, it'd be nice to get a drive just to see, but I just think at going into the third game, I really don't think we're going to see the starters. So this game is going to be, if we don't see the starters, this game is going to be huge for roster bubble guys and backups still fighting for spots on the depth chart. So going into this game, that's really kind of what I'm going to be looking for, is just to see how some of these fringe guys are doing and to see if, like, let's say receiver wise, we'll pick one, how that competition is going to go for receiver 5-6, if a seventh one fights their way into the mix. So that's really the stuff I'm going to be looking for. What are you going to be looking for this game against Denver?
Before I jump into too much of that, I want to thank everybody for watching GG Sports Podcast. By the time this video releases, I will actually be in Spain trying to convert some Viking fans around the world to prove again and again that we have the best fan base for any sport in the entire world. So hit subscribe. Hopefully I can get some sneak peeks of what I'm doing out there for these next videos in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, again, like you said, it'll be interesting. I know you said that you think we probably won't play any starters at all. I don't know how it will work because it's like we haven't played any starters this entire preseason.
Other than the offensive line a few times, and then some interior guys in that first game. But
yeah. So you don't think there's any chance that we'd even just for like one drive, just so they have like a little warm up? Because I mean, I don't know. New offense. That's the weird thing about this whole preseason. I get we want to find out about all the young players and where they stand and try to make team, all that stuff. But we have a whole new offense with all this stuff. You'd think we'd try to get the starters out there a little bit just to, run the offense a little bit before the season starts. So I personally think we could end up playing them just for, even though it's the last preseason game, which you never play it, but it's obviously 3 preseason games. It's all weird now. So I'm hoping to see like just one drive with the whole shebang. We've had this entire time. Luckily for us, we wouldn't have got Nick Mullens, but otherwise we've been going through this whole preseason with Sean Mannion and Kellen Mond, and they've been struggling to get the balls to our receivers the way we'd like. And it's just been kind of like a disappointing preseason and not very, the first game with Mond, it was like kind of, he did well towards the end of the game or whatever, and we were kind of pumped up about it. But still, otherwise, you're watching it. It's just very underwhelming to watch preseason this year because you're just like, we're watching like 2 quarterbacks that just can't get it done. And honestly, getting to the point where I'm like, don't really care watching them. And it's like, I want to see our receivers and see how well they can do, but you can't even get a guy who can throw him the ball. So I'm excited to see Nick Mullens go in there, and hopefully we see a bump from him as far as quarterback plays, and we can get a good look at these wide receivers and tight ends. We already know what we got at running back. I think even KOC right after the last game, it was the whole game plan was to make plays specifically to get the specific players involved to just see if they can make the roster or not. So it wasn't like a normal game plan. There wasn't a lot of run plays. There's a lot of pass plays because we already knew what we have in the running backs. So there's no question. We have 4 serviceable running backs. And I'm assuming we'll see that again. And hopefully, it's Nick Mullens under there. I'm assuming it'll be interesting to see how much we see of Mond or Mannion, or I have a feeling there's going to be one guy that we don't see much of at all in that game. So yeah, I think I'm excited I'm excited to hopefully see a little bit more wide receiver and kind of figure out who's going to be good there, especially like Jackson. Jackson's had some huge times where he's been wide open, and just for our quarterbacks to just overthrow the shit out of him. And it'll be nice to see if he can actually get one of those. So yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going to see position. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Nick Mullens in the first half. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the entire first half, and then Mond and Mannion take the second half and fight over that third-string quarterback spot if we plan on keeping all 3. Not really sure what's going to happen there, but I definitely do think Nick Mullens will get the entire first half, just get acclimated to the team, acclimated to the roster. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to see from that perspective. Running back wise, I think it's just going to be kind of what we've seen. Maybe I think the first half, I think you're going to see Ty Chandler and Kenny split, and then second half, I think you're going to see Brian Kovac get out there. Maybe try to impress. I don't think he's not going to make the roster. Let's be honest. Maybe the practice squad. I don't know, but try to impress some other teams. Get out there, get some people looking at him. I think receivers 1, 2, 3, 4 are set. You got Justin Jefferson, you got Adam Thielen, you got KJ Osborne, you got ISM. But I think 5, 6 is where I'm going to look, and maybe, like I said, maybe a 7 sneaks its way into the mix. I think it's going to go those top 4. And then I think you're going to see BC, and I think you're going to see Tristan Jackson, and I think you're going to see Myron Mitchell because he's got potential. I think you're going to see him hit the practice squad. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. Yeah. Otherwise, Dan Chisena, I don't know. He might be. I don't know what his injury is, but he might be. I think he's a little dinged up at this point.
Yeah. So another one
what's up?
Another one that's a big. I said the other player there that I definitely want to see more of, and is a big question mark as far as that goes, Jalen Naylor. To see, because obviously he's a rookie, someone that we were excited about. So I could see him like I did, if I was going to make a prediction right now, I would probably say obviously those top 3. I would say ISM for number 4. I think that's obvious. At this point, it just seems like they're giving Obese Johnson all the opportunities, and he's out there a lot. Like it seems like they're like, all right, he's going to be our 5th receiver already. So I think it comes down to that 6th spot. And yeah, we've seen good things from Jackson and Myron Mitchell. Not as much last game with Mitchell. I think he dropped a pretty important pass there. Jalen Naylor, I think he's caught like everything that's been his way, but we haven't seen him on the field a ton compared to those other guys. But he is still the rookie guy, and I could see just being like, all right, we're just going to keep Naylor as that wide receiver 6.
But that kind of not seeing him on the field much kind of strikes me as we're going to get him out there, get him some experience, not put a lot of tape on the guy, and sneak him onto the practice squad once. I mean, I don't see him making the team. I haven't seen enough from him to put him over a guy like BC or a guy like Christian Jackson. I like Naylor. The speed is there. Punt return potential. He hasn't really, hasn't done a lot of that yet either. Who knows? Maybe he steps up, and maybe this next game, maybe they put him in there a punt returner, and he brings a couple. I know he's brought a couple. Maybe he brings a couple back pretty far and makes it as a special teamer in that 7th receiver spot like we've had Chisena, and he could be that punt gunner too. So there's some opportunities there. You mentioned Myron Mitchell and dropping the football. I want to see maybe Zach Davidson at tight end has a bounce back. So I think the top 2, you got Irv, you got Johnny Munt. I think that's solidified. After those 2, there's some question marks. Because I think we talked about this in our review of the last game. Ben Ellison is that big blocking tight end, which is nice to see. Every team needs one of those. But if you're looking, I mean, Nick Muse. Nick Muse had a couple catches. He's big. He could potentially get in on the blocking game as well. And you got CJ Ham back there. Line him up at tight end and block him. Save yourself a roster spot with. I mean, I like Ben Ellison, Minnesota kid, of course, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what we do there. And then, of course, you're looking along that offensive line as well. And there's still some competition going on there. Can Ed Ingram keep it? Can he, be more consistent than this game than he was against? He was very consistent against Vegas. Practice has been good. Against the 49ers, a little shaky. Can he bring that consistency back? I get it. You're not going to win every rep, but you want to win most of them. So it would be nice to see if he's going to take that step and solidify that starting spot. I don't really know. I want to see Austin Slotman out there more.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
92.2 PFF grade last game.
Right.
Come out there and impress, and maybe Bradbury struggles in that first game, and maybe Slotman takes over by week 2 starting center. I don't know, but that's the type of stuff on offense I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with Bradbury, because even if the first team doesn't play, did Bradbury did he play at all last game? No, he didn't. So I like, if we don't play any of our starters, I'm hoping he's still out there. And I think I can never say Schlotman, right? Can never say his name correctly. Sorry, Schlotman. I think he's proven so much, and I feel like it has to be open competition at this point. And I think this last preseason game should be a big game to put him and Bradbury out there and have a legit competition. Like, I just feel like even though we see all these really big downs and maybe some ups from Gary Bradbury, I guess, I just still feel like we're just like letting him have that starting spot still. And especially with Schlotman getting a 92 PFF grade, and he's played well in all preseason games, both preseason games so far. I'd like to see him get a fair shot at that starting spot. And that is something that I'll probably be looking forward to going into this preseason game. But yeah, you mentioned CJ Ham too. And I don't know what the plan is for him for sure. I mean, obviously he wasn't suited up last game, and we didn't have any fullbacks, other fullbacks on the roster. So you're not running any plays. You have no plays at fullbacks in that entire game last game. But we also know, like I've mentioned already, that KOC, was making play calling specifically for like the wide receivers and stuff like that, not for the runners. But it'll be interesting to see him. I think we are going to see more of him being like this hybrid fullback tight end type Swiss Army knife, which I'm here for that. And I'm excited to see how we use him going to the regular season.
With the Kubiak system last year, he showed off a lot of his pass catching prowess because he was the number one receiver on some plays. Not number one receiver, but he was the guy Kirk ended up going to.
Yeah, Kirk loves him.
Odd, but yeah. So offensively, I think that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Flipping over to the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I want to see T.Y. McGill keep doing what he's been doing and just dominating. I want to see him secure that roster spot, secure that backup nose tackle spot.
Or people are saying that there's a chance at this point that it could be a little more of a competition between him and Armon Watts for the starting spot, even on the defensive end. Because they're saying that people are saying, I don't even know. I guess this is something. The 3-4 thing is so confusing. I don't really know. I get confused on like what your body type should be for defensive end. Obviously, nose tackles, they're really big. He's a really big guy. They're saying that he can.
Armon Watts has taken off some weight though, so I think he kind of wants to slim down for that defensive end spot a little bit. But also Harrison Phillips is kind of that too, so I don't really know either.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like you can just. I don't know. You can probably put people over. I don't know. Just put the best guys on the field. At the end of the day, put the best guys on the field. I don't really care, but it will be interesting. Like, what if he ends up going through this preseason and gets a starting spot? There's a lot of the times there's usually someone that kind of sneaks a starting spot that you wouldn't have expected, and he's been our best preseason player for sure. The most surprising. He gets the award for at least preseason for sure so far. So
yeah. For sure. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Edge rushers, outside linebackers. I mean, obviously, I hate to talk about it, but we know there is injury concern when it comes to Hunter and Zadarius Smith. I think they're going to shake both of those concerns off this year. But it's nice to see what we have behind them, and we have a lot. DJ Wanham has shown us some stuff in the last couple of years. I know a lot of people aren't very high on him. They say a lot of his sacks, they weren't that great. Which, the 2 Bears games last year when he dominated, they were. He probably got helped by the Bears' lack or their ineptitude on offense, but still, he got hit. And Patrick Jones, who's really been picking it up. Janarius Robinson got in. Yeah, Janarius Robinson got in on a half a sack last week. I know he hasn't been as impressive as some people wanted him to be. Looking at those edge rushers. Going back to the interior, by the way, Jalen Twyman, I want to see him keep working. I saw him out there a little bit. Hasn't made any big impact plays, but we know he's got a lot of potential. But yeah, on the edge, I'm looking at what those backup outside linebackers can do. And then moving over to the linebacker spot, I want to see Brian Asamoah continue to keep doing what he's been doing. He's been one of my favorite players to watch. I loved him going into the draft. So just seeing him keep it going. Obviously, you're not going to see Kendricks or Hicks out there, but just seeing him, seeing the likes of Troy Dye, Chaz Surratt out there, Blake Lynch. No, not Blake Lynch. Is it Blake Lynch, the linebacker?
Blake Lynch. Yep, okay. Blake Lynch.
I thought he was a defensive
James Lynch is the defensive tackle.
We're just seeing Lynch out there.
Who's also been looking pretty good. But
seeing those backup tight end or backup linebackers. Just trying to see how they keep developing and who's going to make the teams. Chaz Surratt, he had a pretty solid game last week. He made some flashes. Maybe he works his way back on. I don't know, but like front 7-wise, that's kind of what I'm looking for there.
Yeah, and then obviously cornerbacks will be interesting. We'll see. Keep getting updates on Andrew Booth throughout the week and everything like that to see. I doubt we see him play this week, but KOC has mentioned that, they're hoping for him to be back this week or whatever. But we're going to see a lot more of Evans, hopefully, and he's been pretty impressive last week. So I'm excited to see more of him. Harrison Hand had a pretty good game. I won't say too big, but pretty good game last week. So see more of him. It always confuses me because he's 27 now, and I just I have to get used to that not being what's his face? Dantzler. Yeah. Because Dantzler's 3 now and he was 27 last year. So that gets confusing. But yeah, I don't think maybe we'll see a little bit of Dantzler again with Booth's injury. I think there's no question Dantzler's probably gonna just get that other starting spot.
Well, the fact he didn't play last week kind of gives you that feeling.
Right. And same with Cameron Bynum. and Lewis Cine, because Cameron Bynum didn't play last week. So we'll see more Lewis Cine. But what I'm hoping this week, I think, out of every single thing I'm hoping for this game from preseason, I want to see one of these young guys get a turnover. We got a turnover last week it was a muff snap or whatever, but I want to see an interception, something like that. Otherwise, we haven't seen anything like that yet.
Yeah, I want to see Lewis Cine.
Nice turnover.
I want to see Lewis Cine lay the hammer down on some guy. I want to see
hammer down, fumble, Asamoah picks up the ball, touchdown all day. That's what I'm hoping. That's my prediction for this game. Lewis Cine knocks someone's head off, stacks a body, ball goes flying. Asamoah picks it up, boom, 4.3 speed, 30 miles per hour down the sidelines.
Yeah,
touchdown.
Then special teams wise, Greg Joseph, keep doing what you're doing. We got a minor punting competition going on right now. I think Perry's going to keep that job. Or is it Ryan Perry, right? Am I getting the name right?
Punter. I'm sorry. My stuff cut out for a second. Yeah.
All right. So I'll just keep it at Perry. Hopefully keep. All right. But I think Perry has that job on lock. Kick returner, it's going to be Kenny. Punt returner is still.
You said Barry?
Oh, Barry. Shoot. So I talked about Greg Joseph. Jordan Berry. That's right.
Jordan Berry.
All right. So I talked about Greg Joseph. We got kind of a minor punting competition going on between Ryan Wright and Jordan Berry. I think Barry's going to. I still think Barry's going to be the guy. Maybe Ryan Wright makes the practice squad. Who knows?
Right.
Kick returners locked down with Kenny. I want to see the punt returner job, unfortunately, is still wide open. I'm sure ISM is going to keep getting his fair share, but if it doesn't work out, I want to see Ty Chandler step in there at the punt returner spot and see what he can do.
Yeah, agree. We've talked about this before. I don't know how we go in the season with 4 running backs, but we got 4 running backs deserving of the spots. And the best thing I think we can do with that is if we can get Ty Chandler to recover some punts, it definitely gives us a good excuse to have all 4 running backs because they're, But also, I don't know. I actually haven't really been paying attention to. I don't know if Ty Chandler's been also on any of coverage, special team coverage, or anything like that. Probably. I know Lucien has been. Has he? Because I haven't really looked into that yet to see who's doing well in that area. Because there's always a player who just does well on special teams in that way and ends up making the team.
Yeah,
because of that.
Anyway,
so
let's jump into predictions. Who wins and who's the player you're going to watch and think that they're going to have a good game?
Who wins? Well, I'm going to go with the Vikings again. I've been wrong. I'm 0 for 2 so far. It's just preseason. Who cares? I'll step it up during the regular season when I pick the Vikings every time, but they actually do win every time. Of course it's us. Every game's been kind of lower scoring. Last one specifically. I'll go 21-17. 21-14. Us, the Broncos. Nick Mullens is going to throw for 2 touchdowns. 125 yards. This is gonna be too crazy, but he's gonna show all right, we got a backup that can come in and be serviceable, and that's gonna be my prediction.
All right,
players.
I think the Vikings win too. I think Kevin O'Connell gets his first win as a head coach. I know it's only the preseason, but he still gets that W. Gets into the regular season on a good feeling. I think 21. I'm going to piggyback off you. 21-17 is fair. I'm looking at Nick Mullens too. I think this game is going to be us being like, thank goodness we finally have our backup quarterback. You're going to be relieved there. I think he's going to come out. He's going to be solid, not going to make too many big mistakes, going to drive the team down the field a couple times in the first half, and we're going to feel comfortable there. So that's what I think. We want to know what you guys think. What?
Wait, before you say that, I do want to say I do think the first team offense is going to come out besides Delvin Cook, and they're going to have one drive. We're going to score on that one drive, and then it's going to be backups from there.
All right, sounds good. I want to know what you guys think about okay. We want to know what you guys think about that. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys next week breaking down this game.
Skol Vikes.